Hey, what's up, guys? It's Russo, and sorry I missed you on Thursday. I just want to start off by saying that I really appreciate you guys tuning into my show. This is a little bit of a distraction in a good way. I didn't put out a video Thursday because it was just everything going on in the country. It was really hard for me to think about sports, and I kept telling myself, I'm going to push through and make a video. And I kept telling myself, all right, I'm about to get up and make a video and doing other stuff and, getting done the priorities for my family, getting that stuff done. But I just felt ultimately like it wasn't a time for me to ignore the way I was feeling. And I spent a lot of time in prayer and a lot of reflection. And so, ultimately it was a lot of just praying for everybody, praying for you guys who tune in, praying for people that agree with me and disagree with me. And I know that not everyone believes the same way I believe, but I respect your right to believe. I understand that it's like, it's something you have to make sense with in your own heart, whatever your convictions are. And I have to stay true to mine. And so it felt like a time of prayer and ultimately a lot of gratitude, thankful for stuff like this, that we can come together and enjoy sports together. So I just wanted to kind of explain why I didn't put out a video Thursday, but I am very grateful for all of you guys. And I do have 4 picks, trying to hard shift back into football, but we do have to, just carry through tough times and however that, whatever that looks like for you. For me, it looks like being closer to my family. Obviously a lot of the things that happened this week were really difficult for me, I think, because I'm a new dad. And so the idea of someone losing their dad is really heartbreaking to me. So I didn't want to not say anything. I just wanted to be honest with you guys about why I didn't put any videos out. And so, I don't, it's hard to shift back into football, but I do want to talk about football because I want everyone to have a great Sunday. We have 13 games, tomorrow. And I think it's important for us to, carry on and try to, enjoy the things that we can all come together on. And so these are the 4 plays, that I'm going with. I'm going to be going with Brian Thomas Jr. over 8.5 receiving targets. Christian McCaffrey over 4.5 receptions. Jaxon Smith-Njigba over 65.5 receiving yards. And we're going to go with Baker Mayfield over 15.5 rushing yards. I know the matchup is it's tough. It's Houston, but I still think that's too low. I have a lot of reasons that I'll explain in just a minute. But if you guys have not yet signed up for Underdog, this is the calendar they have for everything they're running right now. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool promos. They do this every year at the beginning of the year, and so we get to take advantage of all this. So if you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, you can use code BACKDOOR, play $5, get $50 in bonus funds. Just use code BACKDOOR. The information's down below. And then Chalkboard, really fun platform. If you haven't checked this out, all you have to do is use code BACKDOOR and you get $20 to play for free. You don't even have to deposit. So it's really cool. They run specials every single day. They run boosts and discounts every single day. That's what's cool about that platform. So if you guys want to check that out, that information's down below. And let's start breaking down these plays. So 13 games. Let's see what we have. We'll go with Baker first. Let's look at this over under. We have a 42.5 point over under. Houston favored by 2.5. So this should be a good one. They're playing in Houston. But the main thing I like about Baker here is, his last outing, the line was set to a similar line, and he went for 39. I believe this was one of I think we took his rushing attempts last week. I can't really remember, but his situation, Mike Evans he's probably going to be more involved this week, but he wasn't as involved last week. And I still think that Stingley Jr. is going to probably be on Evans, even though Emeka Egbuka played great in his debut. I think that his fantasy score was pretty inflated by getting 2 touchdowns, but I mean, he did everything he needed to do. He looked great. So, Baker does have plenty of options, but I just think that, Baker's the type of quarterback that is going to be doing everything he can to make every play count. You can see that just looking at the way he's played throughout his entire career. He wants to have some sort of net positive on every play. So when plays get broken up, he just gets after it, running the ball. He scrambles a lot, and he's playing against arguably the number one defense, at least statistically, on Outlier against quarterbacks running the ball. So I think that regardless of that being a difficult matchup, I just think that given the situation, he's going to be trying to extend plays. The Buccaneers are a deceiving team, especially with Baker. Baker's deceiving too. I think he was the QB7 last year for fantasy. So I just think this line at 15.5, even Outlier, the default line's at 16.5. We're getting it at 15.5 on Prizepicks. So I'm going to be taking a chance on that. He went for 39 in his first game against Atlanta. And that was on 5 rush attempts. So 5 rush attempts, he was averaging 6.9 yards a carry. So if he has 3 successful rushes around that average, we're going to cash this. His longest rush was 17. So his longest rush, was it? Because it's showing 20, but it's saying 17.2. Yeah. Okay, so that's his longest rush average over his last 5 games, technically. But yeah, he had a rush of 20 yards last week. So he could beat this in one run. So 15.5, I just think that the pressure is going to be on him, and he's going to have some moments. Sure, he might get sacked sometimes, and it might, he might get sacked behind the line of scrimmage. And I don't even know if Prizepicks has that go against you or not, but they might. I think they do actually. So I'm going to take a chance on it. 15.5. Let's take a look and see what Daily Grind thinks about it. We'll type in Baker here. This is the DFS optimizer. It's a really great tool. If you guys want to check it out, 25% off your first purchase as long as you want to lock it in when you use code Backdoor. Look, they've got the rushing yards actually as the best play for Baker, the best over. 51.49% odds to hit the over, minus 124. And a lot of platforms, a lot of them have it at 16.5. Pinnacle has it at 16.5, and they still have it a 50-50 shot. So I'm feeling good about it. They also like his pass completions over 20.5. They like his pass plus rushing yards over 251.5. And they like his pass attempts over 32.5. Now I currently have the optimizer set to overs because especially with NFL, I'm not really that big on unders anyways. Maybe come NBA, there'll be some more opportunities for unders. I'll show you guys what it looks like without anything on there. So they're getting Buda Baker in there too. I'll just put an M on the end there. But so yeah, the longest rush over 9.5, they're not feeling that. But the reason I don't really take unders is because unders on Prizepicks actually don't typically give you the full multiplier. If you guys have noticed that, if you went and had like a bunch of different plays and they were all unders, they're going to give you like an 8x on like a 6-man. So to me, that's even more of a reason to just go for overs that I like. But yeah, even with the unders in there, they've got the rushing yards over 15.5 as the second best play, 51.49% odds to hit the over. All right, let's move on. Who else we got here? So Brian Thomas Jr. So the reason I'm going with his targets is because last week it was weird. He and Trevor Lawrence, I hate to say it, but I blame Trevor Lawrence more than I blame Brian Thomas Jr. He still had 7 targets. He had 1 reception. So I think that he just wasn't getting good balls thrown his way, personally. But he still had 7 targets regardless. And that was against Carolina, who they didn't need to be as aggressive with. That was a closer game than you'd like to see for the Jaguars now that they've got Liam Cohen. But I think that they're going to maybe bounce back here. So getting him over 8.5, we just need 9 targets. He doesn't even need to catch those. But there's also rumors about Travis Hunter playing more defense this week because I believe one of their corners may be out. So there's rumors that he's going to be playing a little more defense than he did last week. So maybe a little bit of vacated targets. Also, there might be more of an effort to get Brian Thomas Jr. activated, like get his athleticism, get the weapon he is into the mix, because I think that they should have won that game a little more handedly. If we look at the receiving targets allowed against Cincinnati, which is a beautiful matchup for this to be a high-scoring game. We know Cincinnati doesn't have great defense. They've got a killer offense, so this should be a nice high-scoring shootout is what we're hoping for. But yeah, receiving targets allowed. They average 42 targets a game is what, basically pass plays is what they allow. They're 29th in receiving targets allowed. So solid matchup there. And then if you look at the history here, he's had 10 targets in 6 straight games to end last year, and then he had 7. So even in a bad situation, when he wasn't catching the ball much, they kept feeding him last week. So I think this week in a matchup that they're going to need to probably pass a lot more than they did against Carolina, I think that we can count on him getting 2 more targets than he did last week. That's my reasoning behind that. Let's take a look at the over-under. Where are we at here? Oh, this is getting too far up. Let's take a look. Here we go. Yeah, 49.5 point game total here for the over-under. So I think that's the highest on the week. They're expecting that to be the high scoring game, and Cincinnati's only favored by 3.5 points playing in Cincinnati. So yeah, he's going to be in a good environment. You don't have to worry about weather. And even Vegas is calling this close, 3.5 points. So I just think that it's going to be a BTJ type of day because this is the defense for him to just go off. And so with it being a shootout potential type game, I really like him to hit those targets. And that seems like, maybe he and Trevor Lawrence do need another week to really get the chemistry down and get those receptions up. I'm not afraid of the receptions. They were at 5.5, but I just feel like the 8.5 targets seems like a safe bet for the situation here. Let's take a look. So the optimizer likes his fantasy score over 14.5. They don't like his receptions over 5.5. Now this is just because this is a sharp betting tool. So it's, looking at, basically it's looking at the odds of all the other platforms and the lines they're at. And it's deciding whether or not this is a value for you to take this or is it more of an EV plus play if you take the under. So it's not like in the receptions, it has the under favored to 52.86% odds to hit the under, minus 131. But then the fantasy scores over 14.5. So if he's not even getting 6 receptions, how's he getting over that 14.5? He had a rushing touchdown last week that kind of salvaged his day a little bit. Other than that, he had 1 reception. They like his longest reception over 23.5. Favored that to go over 50.94% odds to hit the over. Targets, they're totally 50-50 on. They've got the under and the over, both at a 50-50 shot. So kind of hard to say. There's not a lot of platforms putting the targets out there. Looks like Parlay Play is, but other than that, no one's even giving us this option. So I like the targets a lot. I do think that he could have another one of his, breakout games this week because they're just going to need it. And yeah, I mean, like Liam Cohen was so stoked to be working with Brian Thomas Jr. coming into, this position. He said the offense will run through Brian Thomas Jr. Last week, we saw Travis Hunter get more we'll get more receptions than BTJ and more targets, I believe. I think Travis Hunter had 8, so he had 1 more. But they were using Travis like in a lot of short yardage situations. So I think BTJ is going to get more love this week, and I like him to go over those 8.5 targets. All right, so Christian McCaffrey, I think obviously the reason, so he comes out and he goes for against the Seahawks in Seattle. He has 9 receptions. We're getting this at 4.5, exactly half what he did last week. And he's playing against New Orleans, who is kind of just in a rebuild year. But the 49ers have no George Kittle. He's out for a while. No Brock Purdy this week. But Mac Jones is filling in, who I think is a competent backup. If you see when Brian Thomas Jr. started popping off last year, it was when Mac Jones took over. So Trevor Lawrence wasn't utilizing him. Mac Jones force feeds his best weapons. So he was the reason that Brian Thomas Jr. was having like games where he had like 37 fantasy score, like ridiculous numbers. And it was like, okay, why wasn't Trevor Lawrence doing this the whole time? It's just like force feed your best guy over and over and over. It's like you're a backup who's competent. You're going to get in there and get it to your best guys. That's a smart thing to do. So I like Mac Jones in that regard. And I think he's going to be passing the ball to McCaffrey a lot. They're not going to be able to just run the ball the whole time against the Saints. So if we look at receptions allowed against running backs, they're 21st in the league, and the average, no matter who's there, based on this personnel from last year, they averaged 5 receptions, running backs, no matter who the team is. We're talking about Christian McCaffrey here, with no George Kittle, with no Brandon Ayuk, with isn't Jennings? I'm pretty sure Jennings is not 100%. So I think that this is a good week for Ricky Pearsall. I think people are kind of underestimating that Mac Jones is going to get in there and just feed it to these guys. He doesn't have a whole lot of options. It's going to be McCaffrey and Pearsall. Maybe the tight end who's filling in for George Kittle. I'm pretty sure he's pretty competent. I don't remember his name, but he's not George Kittle. So I think Christian McCaffrey is going to get a lot of love. It's going to be a lot of dump offs. So 4.5, I will take that bait all day. Let's take a look at this over under for this game. What are they expecting with Mac Jones at the helm? Here we go. 40.5 over under. So San Francisco only favored by 3. I get the 40.5 low scoring, but to me it would be because the Niners are going to be able to just control this game. They're playing in New Orleans, so the Saints did not look great to start the season. Like I said, they're really smack dab in the middle of a rebuild, but they do have Kellen Moore, who's a brilliant offensive mind. He's the new head coach. He went and won the Super Bowl with the Eagles last year. That Eagles offense looked great. So I expect this to be a little bit more competitive than we would think. So maybe that's why it's only I think that still at the same time, I think that Vegas might be underestimating what the 49ers will be able to do, even with Mac Jones. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Mac Jones comes out and just totally, fails. But we'll see. But Christian McCaffrey, he's going to catch the ball 5 times. That's what I'm thinking. So seemed like a good value to jump on, because you're kind of looking for narrative stuff. You're kind of looking for narrative stuff that's gonna that you can take advantage of. So the uncertainty is bringing his lines down a little bit. So yeah, the optimizer likes the 4.5 receptions as well. 51.22% odds to hit the over, minus 123. And no one's favoring this to go under. Every single platform that's offering it has it at 50-50 or higher. Some as high as minus 130. So I feel strong about that take. Let's wrap it up here with Jaxon, Smith-Njigba. So this is an expected value play on Outlier too, which is nice about this app. You guys can try this app out for free. Just sign up through the link below. You don't need to put a code in or anything. You just sign up and you get a week to mess with it, see how you like it. But yeah, they'll let you know, hey, the play you're looking at right now has some expected value on it. And I mean, he went for 124 yards last week. He had a 54% target share. He had 13 targets. I am not going to pull it up right now, but let's put it this way. He went for 124 yards, and Sam Darnold, I'm pretty sure, went for like 175 yards max. I don't think it was up to 180. I'm pretty sure. I know it was under 200, but Sam Darnold went for like 170 something, maybe 100 and high 60s total passing yards, and 124 of those were Jaxon, Smith-Njigba. I'm absolutely taking this line. Outlier has it at 67.5. I'll take all these. Like if it's under 70, I'm taking it. He had 56% of the target share, and that was against San Francisco. Close game, 17-13, low scoring. So we'll see how things look against the Saints with Christian McCaffrey. But for Jaxon, Smith-Njigba, and then if you just look, he had two dud games, but he was going nuts with Geno last year. Dude has cleared this line, and what is that? It's an 80% hit rate out of his last 10 games, including last week. But if it's that hot, 124 yards, like, what do you think? He's just not going to get the targets this week? Like, Sam Darnold was just force feeding him. He had 13 targets. 13 targets. Let's see what he did with that. 9 receptions. So he caught 69% of what was thrown his way. Average yards per reception was 13.1. So he's going to crush this if he gets 6 receptions and he averages those 13. The matchup, 19th overall. Pittsburgh, I get it. It's tough. 18th in receiving yards allowed. So they're below average with receiving yards allowed. Now, I know some of that is, Outliers getting their averages based off of last year as well. So it's a little bit different. We got to kind of give it a couple of weeks for Outlier to have more data to go off of, because it's an awesome like statistical calculator. Really great tool. But yeah, I feel totally confident in Jaxon Smith-Njigba getting over 67.5 yards when he went for 124 last week and had a 54% target share. Let's take a look and see what Daily Grind thinks about this one. Top play, okay. 51.8% odds to hit the over, minus 125. There you go. Pinnacle has it at a minus 140. We know Pinnacle's our favorite as far as them being accurate with their odds. FanDuel has this all the way up at 70.5. So does DraftKings. So I'm feeling great about this play. This will probably be a demon play. I'm going to try to put out some demon picks over on my other channel, the Russo channel. We'll just see how much time I have when I wrap this up. But yeah, if you guys want to look at some other plays here, they also like JSN's fantasy score over 14.5. They like this receiving yards combo. So do I. Minus 135. I'm sorry, 135.5 is the line. That's DK Metcalf and Jaxon Smith-Njigba. JSN could reasonably hit this alone. He went for 124 last week. So with DK, coming back to Seattle, his first sort of revenge game, playing back in Seattle, it should be interesting. So I like that combo too, if you guys want to jump on that. They like his longest reception, over 23.5 yards, 50.07%. So just barely over the 50% line. They also like his targets. Man, maybe that was the play I should have taken. Those 8.5 targets. We got BTJ's 8.5 targets. JSN had 13 last week. So he'll probably beat that in receptions. Like, he has the chance to anyways. So this is going to be a fun game. We have a lot of fun matchups this week. We also have Chicago playing the Lions. So some fun revenge games, with Ben Johnson returning to Detroit. And this is going to be a good test to see if Detroit was really that bad in week 1 or if the Packers defense is really that good. Because without having Ben Johnson anymore, looked like they were struggling to find some creative looks on offense. So I'll be excited to see how that looks. So let's just give you guys some extra plays just straight from the optimizer if you'd like. So they love this Devon Achane rushing receiving touchdowns over 0.5, 55.58% odds to hit the over, minus 150. A lot of juice on that one. We got RJ Harvey. They like his rush attempts over 7. Ramondre Stevenson over 9 rush attempts. David Montgomery under 1 touchdown. That's too risky for me personally. Same with CD. They like him to not get a touchdown, but I don't know how I feel about taking touchdown unders. Those just give me anxiety. But Jordan Mason, they don't like his touchdown either. Geno Smith, okay. That's Monday night. Travis Etienne. I'm not going to risk this either. 77.5 rushing receiving yards. He looks like he is Liam Cohen's Bucky Irving, according to week 1. We'll see. After that, they went into week 1 listing Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne as co-starters. They didn't even call one of them the RB2. They called them co-starters, and then it was all Etienne, and then they traded Tank Bigsby to the Eagles, like within a couple of days. And Etienne had himself a day. So I'm not taking that under personally, but go with your gut. If you want to do some sharp betting, the optimizer says take the under. Joe Burrow under an interception. This is why I don't like unders. All these just don't look good to me. It's just me. Let's look at more overs. CJ Stroud over 240.5 passing rushing yards. I'm a little nervous about that as well, personally. I think it's just on the radar because you're getting it down at 240.5 on Prizepicks, and other platforms have it above that. We've got 242, 243, 248. So it's just noticing that it's like a deal compared to other platforms. So might be triggering the over there. Do like 2 more and then we'll get out of here. Zach Charbonnet over 1.5 receptions, 53.48% odds to hit the over -134. We'll see. We cashed his fantasy score last week. I told you guys 6.5 is something we're never going to see again. That's what we got it at. It's at 9 now. I don't know if they're just easing Ken Walker back in or if Charbonnet really did just Clint Kubiak likes him better. I know one thing. He's going to get touches a lot more than he did last year. So Ken Walker just owning that backfield, I don't think that's a thing anymore because Charbonnet's really good. And Ken Walker's in a contract year. So they may be saying, hey, maybe we trade Ken Walker before too long and give the reins to Charbonnet. Jonathan Taylor, over 89.5 rushing receiving yards, 53.42% odds to hit the over -136. So yeah, there's some extra options. I'll scroll this down. You guys can take a look for yourself if you want to look at some of these others. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. If you don't mind liking the video, dropping me a comment if you want. If you have questions about plays, just hit me up in the comments and I'll, the best I can, as soon as I get a moment, I'll use my tools and look into these plays for you. If you want me to check something out on Outlier or anything like that, just hit me up. I'm happy to help. But yeah, I hope you guys have a really blessed Sunday, and I'll catch you in the next one.